This video is powered by BetUS. What a way to start the season. The Chicago Bears are 1-0, and I spent most of the last 24 hours rewatching the broadcast footage and taking in that victory. Today, I want to talk about my biggest takeaways from the film, dig into the trenches on offense and defense, and give a quick injury update. Let's go ahead and get right into it. First, a quick injury update from our wide receiver room. Keenan Allen left yesterday's game early with a heel injury. He seems to be okay, and DJ Moore offered an update on the situation, saying Keenan is okay, he's just an old man. I loved how DJ was able to joke about it, but on a serious note, Matt Eberflus said Rome Odunze is getting an MRI on his knee today. Just really hoping everything is okay with our rookie receiver, and then let's go ahead and talk about the game. Bears win 1-0 to start the season. In a week where our offense resembled anything but a new era, things really are different for the Chicago Bears. We don't win games like this, or at least we haven't since the 2016. Anyone who's been a fan that long will remember the Arizona Cardinals game. We were who they thought we were. Our offense could not get going, but the defense and Devin Hester refused to let us lose that game. We were down 20-0 at halftime, but it was turnovers that put us in such bad position. Rex Grossman threw 4 interceptions in that game, yet somehow, someway, the Bears pulled off a 24-23 victory. Caleb Williams threw for 50 less yards than Grossman did in the game, but more importantly, he did not turn the ball over. Caleb never seemed like the moment was too big for him. We didn't see the killer mistakes that previous quarterbacks have always been plagued by. The fumbles, the interceptions, especially the turnovers in the red zone. Caleb had no fumbles, no interceptions, and he never had that deer in the headlights look. The numbers weren't great though, but it seemed as if multiple times throughout this one, Caleb and the wide receivers just weren't on the same page. This seemed more like a communication issue than anything to really worry about long term, but it is something that needs to get cleaned up. Caleb also had multiple passes that got deflected and batted down at the line of scrimmage. I believe that was mostly a result of pressure up the middle, but it's another thing that needs to be cleaned up. I'll talk more about the offensive line in a minute, but before that, I wanted to talk about Shane Waldren. To be honest, I expected more from Waldren in the first game of the season. I thought it was really important for Waldren to get Caleb into a rhythm early in this game. He could have got him comfortable with some moving pockets and easy completions, but it didn't happen. We had some third and shorts on the first couple of drives, and Waldron chose to take deep shots rather than extending the drives by picking up the first down and moving the chains. I'm not against taking deep shots on third and short, but this was the first career start for a rookie. I thought it was way more important to get him comfortable and get him into a rhythm. Obviously, we did have some issues with the offensive line yesterday. We also had some tipped passes and some uncharacteristic drops from our receivers. So to me, nothing to really overreact about, but 2 for 13 on third down is nothing to write home about, and I just wasn't overly impressed by Shane Waldron in week 1. And then I want to take a moment to thank BetUS for sponsoring today's video. Use promo code YouTube150 to get an incredible 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Head over to betus.com to take advantage of this offer. BetUS has you covered for all your betting needs. But now let's go ahead and get into the trenches. First, the offensive line, where the biggest thing happened was Nate Davis seemed to get benched, but Matt Eberflus said they are rotating. However, Nate only got 18 snaps before he was replaced by Ryan Bates. Initially, when watching the game live, I was really hard on Coleman Shelton. And to be fair, Shelton did not have a great game, but there were a couple of snaps in the first half where it looked like Nate Davis was not even trying to block anyone, and it put Shelton in some bad situations. It really looked like he was expecting help from Nate Davis. I'll be breaking it down more once we get to all 22, but as we look at the offensive line, I've excluded Nate Davis in his 18 snaps because it seems like he was replaced by Ryan Bates. But here is our offensive line for week 1. Braxton Jones and Coleman Shelton both gave up a sack. Tevin Jenkins gave up 1 pressure. Meanwhile, Darnell Wright and Ryan Bates didn't allow a single pressure all game. Tevin Jenkins and Coleman Shelton were our best graded run blockers. Meanwhile, Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright were our highest graded pass blockers. Darnell Wright had a great game. Overall, it's going to take our offensive line some time to gel, and there were multiple missed assignments in this one, but they also provided Caleb Williams with some clean pockets at times. I'm excited about the development of this line overall, but I am worried about the center position right now. I'll be digging in deeper with the All 22 later this week. But let's move on to the defense, where the defensive line was a big surprise for me in this one. DeMarcus Walker stood out with 5 pressures, and on top of that, he played the run very well. And then Andrew Billings, who's known for his run stuffing abilities, also had 4 pressures himself and looked really good. Walker and Billings are both underrated pieces of this defensive line, but the biggest addition was Darrell Taylor. PFF credited him with 3 pressures, but I counted at least 5. He also had 2 sacks and a big forced fumble, but on top of that, Taylor also played the run very well. He came in and set the edge a lot better than Austin Booker did against the Titans. Booker was in for limited snaps, but he got ran on in this game. Booker was in for the long Tony Pollard touchdown run. Meanwhile, Darrell Taylor did a great job of setting the edge, and I think he should be in line for more reps going forward. And then we have to mention my guy, Gervon Dexter. He had 3 pressures, 1 sack, and 2 quarterback hits, just missing a second sack. But on the final play of the game on defense, the one where Jalen Johnson got the interception, it was Gervon Dexter hitting Will Levis as he threw the ball, potentially causing that interception. Could have easily been Dexter's second sack of the game, though. Meanwhile, Montez Sweat had 3 pressures and also played pretty well. Kyler Gordon and Chris Williams also had 1 pressure each. And our secondary lived up to the hype. They played really well. Obviously, JJ and Tyreek had big games, but Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon also played very well. Our secondary is a top 10 unit led by Jalen Johnson, who allowed a 2.4 passer rating on the day. He is a stud. And then Tyreek Stevenson just missed getting his second interception on one of Levis's TD passes. Our defense allowed 164 total yards in the first half of this one, but then completely shut the Titans down after halftime, only allowing 55 yards while getting 2 interceptions and a fourth down stop. Halftime adjustments for Matt Eberflus and Eric Washington were a real thing for this defense. And then as far as special teams go, Torrey Taylor had a really good debut for a rookie punter. He looks like the real deal. 3 of his 6 punts were downed inside the 20, and then he had another one that should have been downed inside the 5, but the coverage guy just missed it and it went for a touchback. But that should have been 4 of his 6 punts inside the 20, and he also had a 60-yard punt on the day. He averaged 45 yards per punt. Meanwhile, DeAndre Carter had an awesome day as a return man. We already knew he was a solid punt returner. He returned 5 punts for 64 total yards, making multiple guys miss in the process and looking solid. But then after Valus muffed his kickoff return, Carter would come in and return his one kick for 67 yards, almost taking it to the end zone and providing a big spark for the offense when we really needed it. Carter is an underrated return man. The bottom line is the Chicago Bears are 1-0. We did not play our best football, and they have to play a lot better next week, especially if they want any chance of beating the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. But sitting here on Victory Monday, I'm extremely happy that this team pulled out the victory yesterday. The offense struggled. We all know that. But better days are ahead. I fully believe that. I have full confidence that Caleb Williams will bounce back and be the quarterback we've dreamed of our entire lives. But there was still a lot to love about yesterday's win. Our defense is legit. Our special teams looks awesome. And this offense still has a ton of potential. Right now, my biggest worry is Rome Odunze's health. Hopefully he's okay, but it's always great to start the season off 1-0. How do you guys feel? Let me know in the comments section. I will be back with some film breakdowns this week. Hit that like button for me and stay tuned. Again, thanks to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. And until next time, bear down.